Hi there, this is Dr. Mu'in Hasib again, the accreditation consultant and quality and safety trainer with another topic on accreditation and quality in clinical laboratories. Today's topic is how to be CAB ready every day in your laboratory. And this is lesson 1 out of 7 lessons for this topic. We're going to do things little differently for this topic. We're going to start with the conclusion, with the summary. If you are a CAB accredited, okay, for any revised checklist standards, you need to review new standards, revised or merged standards, deleted standards, okay. What do you mean? If there is a new standard in the revised checklist or a new checklist that came out, then you need to take care of the new standards that are applicable to your section. Revised standards, you want to just make sure that the revised language for that standard is still applicable to your compliance or your answer. Now, if it is not, then you need to come up with another compliance for it. What do you mean by merge? Merge, that means they combined two standards together, and you want to now make sure that your compliance is done for those for these two merge standards or more, or you want to move your compliance to be your answer need to be written for that merge standard. If deleted, you don't need to worry about it anymore. You just get rid of it, okay? You don't need to comply with it anymore. So that's for the revised checklist, the new addition checklist. Okay? Usually CAB comes up with a revised checklist every year. Okay? Now for existing checklist, if you are working with an existing checklist, okay, you need to review, take care of any weekly, monthly, semi-annual or annual and or biannual standards. What does that mean? Usually, if there are things you need to take care of weekly, like say the one I can think of is the eye wash. Okay, eye wash station. You need to take care of that every week. You need to remember to do that. Okay, something is done monthly, like maintenance, QC review. You need to remember to do that. Semi-annual, like instrument to instrument comparison, or semi-annual competency. You need to take care of that. Annually, if something is annually, maybe you need to check the speed on a centrifuge. You need to check your balance, or for your quality management program, you need to revise and update annually your chemical hygiene plan, your chemical inventory, not inventory, chemical classification list. It needs to be updated also annually. Every other year stuff like your review for your SOPs and IBBs. So if you are not CAB accredited, then you need to take care of everything. You don't need to worry about the deleted or the revised or the new, because the deleted will not be there. The revised will be new for you, and the new will be new for you. So you need to take care of every standard on the checklist if it's applicable to you. And these are the checklists that I'm gonna be going through with you today in these lessons. Okay, there are about 22 of them, or 15 of them. There are about 22 checklists, but these are the most common. So, and I'm gonna be working from the 2019 checklist. Is the latest checklist as the latest checklist that I'm using when I was taping these lessons or lectures. So in lesson 1, I'm gonna teach you how to be CAB ready all the time, continuous reading for the LabGen checklist. In lesson 2, I'm gonna teach you how to be CAB ready for the all common checklist. In lesson 3, in lesson 4 and lesson 5, I'm gonna teach you how to be CAB ready all the time in the chemistry, hematology, microbiology, including molecular microbiology section or subsection, immunology, histology, cytology. Okay, how to be CAB ready all the time in these sections. Also in lesson number 6 and lesson number 7, I'm gonna teach you how to be CAB ready in the sections of cytogenetics, flow cytometry, histocompatibility, point of care, urinalysis, serology or virology, blood bank, and molecular pathology. In addition, and the team leader checklist. In addition, in lesson number 7, I'm going to give you a simple plan on how to be CAB ready all the time. So let's start with lesson 1. Lab general checklist. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the standards that you need to remember to stay in compliance with them during the year or during the 2 years before you get inspected again. So the first one is Gen 16902 Quality Management Program Implementation. If this is your first inspection, don't worry about this. This is going to be an A for you because you have not been inspected for 12 months or more. But if this is your re-inspection, then this is applicable to you. You need to take care of that. How do you comply with it? By annual written report, revision to the laboratory policy and procedure, revision to QM program as appropriate, and that's how you comply with this standard. The next one is Gen 20316 QM indicator of quality. You have to have a quality indicators for the lab. You have to have a quality indicators for your section. You need a list of the quality indicator that include pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical, and the indicator that address the scope of your testing laboratory services. You need to say how long you will be doing these indicators, how often you're going to be monitoring, okay? And make sure on a monthly basis you look at the performance of these indicators, you meeting, not meeting, and take a corrective action if you are not meeting your goals or limits. Customer service satisfaction surveys, and you find that in Gen 20335. You need to do surveys, customer satisfaction surveys for healthcare provider, patient, lab patient, could be the referral laboratories, healthcare providers could be the nurses, the doctors. Also, I recommend that you do a survey for your employees to determine their satisfaction with their work. This needs to be done every 2 years. In-term self-inspection, again, this is not needed if this is your first inspection, but if this is your re-inspection on the year that CAB does not come, you need to do an in-term self-inspection on your laboratory. And CAB sends you usually a package 60 days before the due date of the self-inspection or your anniversary date. You need to do it and report back to CAB. And you need to keep a file with your self-inspection. How did you do it? If there were any citation, they were addressed and taken care of. Next one in the LabGen, you find it in Gen 40016, specimen collection procedure. This specimen collection, this is for phlebotomy, specimen phlebotomy, okay? And the medical director or designee need to be reviewing that every 2 years. The next one for the centrifuge operating speed, you find that in Gen 41017. Okay, the speed of the centrifuge need to be checked annually, and you need a record for that. The next one is Gen 41067, content format report review, and this need to be done in every 2 years also. How you do that? For each section, for the test you report patient results on, either you get a printout from the instrument for all your tests, okay? It could be one test by itself individually, or a group of tests like thyroid profile, lipid profile, CBC, PT, BTT, fibrinogen. Yeah. Okay, it could be a profile, it could be individually listed. But you need to include all of your tests that you report patient result on. So you get the printout from the instrument. If it's a manual test and you have a worksheet, you get a copy of that worksheet. You go to the computer for that particular patient. You print it from the computer. You match the printout with the printout from the computer with the printout from the instrument. Make sure the results are the same. Okay. This means that when you transfer transfer the result from the instrument to the computer, or you enter the result manually in the computer, they were the same. There was nothing missing in between. Okay, so you stable them together, and when you're done with all your tests, then you give it to the medical director to sign, and then you give it, or you give a copy of it to the quality manager to keep in a folder for the inspector to review. You need to do this every 2 years. Keeping things confidential for the patient, you find that in Gen 41303, the laboratory must audit compliance with the procedure at least annually. There are many things you can do with this. You can talk about the security level that you have. Nobody can access patient file except those who have security codes, okay? Things like that. Defined water types. If you are using water for your instrument, you need a procedure. You need to define the water type that you are using, and you need to check the quality of the water at least annually. In my laboratories, we used to do it monthly, but at least annually you need to check the microbial content by sending a sample of the water to microbiology to do a culture, and it should be less than 10 colonies, okay? And then you need to check the resistivity. Usually there is a button on the water system. You push the button, gives you the reading for the resistivity, and it should be greater than 10 ohms. In Gen 43450, calculating patient data verification, it needs to be done every 2 years. How do you do that? You need to take any formula that either you entered into the machine or to your computer, LIS, okay, and verify that that formula is still working. How? You take, for example, you take a nucleated RBC that was calculated by the system, by the LIS. You print that report. Then on the same sheet, you need to calculate the nucleated RBCs manually, and then your results should match with the result from the system, from the computer or the machine. Okay, this is only needed for formulas that you introduce. Okay, you introduce into the system. If it comes up, if it came with it, the system came with it, then you don't need to verify. So what you need to do, you need to send an email if you're the quality manager or the lab director. I need a list of the test you have calculated patient result for, and I need an example for each one of them. Then you can have them done and have a copy of them and put them in the folder for the inspector to review. Next, if you are doing auto verification reporting, auto verification means that you don't look at the result, they just all normal result will transfer from the instrument to the LIS system without anybody looking at them. Okay, that's what auto verification basically is. So initially you need to validate it. Okay, then at least annually or whenever there is a change, you need to make sure that that auto verification is still working. How do you do that? You take 4 or 5 patients that were transferred from your instrument to the LIS, and make sure you print both reports and make sure whatever was transferred is still the same. There was no change. Also, you want to see if things are caught not transferred, like a critical result, greater than or less than result. You need to verify those. You will find this requirement in Gen 43875. Also for Gen 48500, which is the same as 41067, you verify the content format content verification. This is interface result integrity. Basically, it's the same thing. You want to see what was transferred. Okay, is the same in the computer. So you can take a couple of examples for that to verify, or you can take example from 41067 for this one, or you can say it's the same as 41067. Again, this needs to be done every 2 years. Your organizational chart. Okay, for your organizational chart, if you add a section, you remove the section, you need to update that. Okay, if you, for your organizational chart with names, if you change a supervisor, you change a manager, you change a section head, you change a lab director, you need to update that. Okay, and you need to send CAB an updated list of your organizational chart as needed. Okay, for Gen 54025 laboratory personnel evaluation roster. A roster means you need to, for non-wave testing, you need to include the list of all employees who work in the lab. The employee roster, it's available on CAB site. You need to download it and fill it, and you need to send that to CAB initially with your first inspection. Okay, and update and updated annually, and because you're gonna need it for your next inspection. So make sure it's updated all the time, so you don't have to take a long time trying to update it if you don't keep it updated every time somebody comes or goes. Gen 54200 continue education. What I recommend here that you should have a schedule for CME in your own lab for 12 months at least. Every month there is you offer a lecture for the staff, and the lecturer could be or should be one of your staff, either a section head, a quality manager, a supervisor, a technologist. So then that calendar that you prepared for the year, okay, you can attach it to this standard as a proof that you have continuing education for your staff. Of course, also you can tell them that we have in hospital continuing education. Also, you send your staff outside of the hospital for seminar, conferences, and workshops. Also, the next one is your personal records. Personal record found in Gen 54400. Initially, you need to go to this standard and find out what all the things you need to have in the personal file. Now, after that, after 1 year, then you only need to worry about their maybe licensing, if they have work-related incidents, their annual evaluation, their competency. Okay, that's all you need to worry about. If you do it right the first time and you have all the requirement in the personal file, it becomes easy on you moving forward. Next, yes, for personal record, you need also primary source of verification. This you can do in two ways. You can hire a company to verify the degrees or certificate of your staff, or you can contact or the HR can contact the university or the college to verify that your staff got their degree or certificate from that college or that institution. Visual color discrimination. This is needed for those who do test and discriminate between colors, like in hematology, if they are doing differential, or in microbiology, if they are doing gram stain, for example. So is needed for those. Okay. I recommend that you put it on the safety training checklist so you don't forget about it. That's one thing. The other thing, I recommend that you do it for all of your staff, even if they're going to be working in, for example, in chemistry, where they're not going to be differentiating for color. Why I recommend that you do it for all your staff? So, if somebody is going to be working in chemistry and he has a problem with color blindness, okay, then they cannot be working in hematology or microbiology, so they cannot be transferred to another section in the future. Next is Gen 55450 personal training. You need to have a training checklist for each section for the test you report patient results on, for all the instruments or the kit, and your staff need to be trained before they can start on the actual patient testing. Also, in Gen 55499 competency assessment, whether it's waived or non-waived, they need a training. They need a training checklist and they need a competency. For wave testing, they need an annual competency, okay? And for non-wave testing, they need semi-annual competency and an annual competency. And for more on this subject, go to the training versus competency lesson, and I tell you all that you need to know about it there, okay, if you like. Also in Gen 55525 performance assessment of supervisor or consultants, if the lab medical director do everything on his or her own, then they don't. This is an A for him or her. However, if they delegated some task to a section head or to a supervisor or senior, then they need to evaluate them on a yearly basis, okay? They need to evaluate their delegated task on an annual basis to make sure whatever was delegated is really done and done well. For Gen 73400 safe work practices review, like I said, when an employee comes into the lab, you need to do a safety training check list on them, okay? Now, on an annual basis, you need to do a safety practice review, okay? You need to do a refresher. Usually, you do it by having then watch videos, you take the most issue in safety and just rehearse with them. Okay, whatever you like, but you need to document that. In my laboratories or for my client, I have a form for that where they go through the items for the safe work practice review, and we make the staff sign that it was done for them, and that's what you keep for the inspector. Also for that, you can use safety committee minutes, record of regular safety inspection like safety rounds, or incident report and statistics, or another method defined by the laboratory director, like the one I mentioned to you. Fire safety training, okay, as part of the safety training checklist, the fire safety training will be part of it. However, it needs to be refreshed or done annually, and this needs to be done for everybody, from the medical director down to the receptionist or phlebotomist. Everybody in the lab need a fire safety training, either actual or mock. And we'll talk more about this in the safety lectures. Chemical hygiene plan. Chemical hygiene, you need to have one. And part of having the chemical hygiene plan is the classification of your chemicals. And the classification of the chemicals need to be updated annually. Okay, you need to make sure that is done. The emergency eye wash, you need to check it once per week and document it. How about the shower? The CAB checklist does not have recommendation on how often you do the shower or even to do the shower. Okay, the emergency shower, to check the emergency shower. So in my labs, we used to do it like once a year. Some labs do it once a week or once a month. I think that's too much. It's not needed, since the shower really is not used that often. I work in the labs for more than 20 years. We never use the emergency shower for anything. I am done with this lesson, how to be CAB ready every day in your laboratory. And in this lesson, we covered the LabGen checklist. Continue with the subject. Please go to lesson 2. In lesson 2, I'm gonna teach you how to be CAB ready all the time for the all common checklist. Thank you very much for watching.